Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, August 29th, 9 o'clock a.m. YouTube's changing things a little bit on me, which is why we're going with the YouTube stream today, and then I will have to figure out how to get that back linked into the website. My technical savvy is just not that high this early in the morning. So checking in on SPY. So big gap up coming for SPY today. 291.52 is currently where we're sitting. So we're still in this daily range. We have our low, high, higher low, lower high around 293.93, and then our absolute high here 294.15 on watch. So another higher low set 283.01. We do have some of that being wicks and some of that being extended hours. So if we zoom into the daily time frame, we'll get rid of all that after hours stuff and be able to pay a little bit better attention to it. And here you can see that we're still trading within that daily equilibrium. We have our high low of yesterday 285.25. So there's another one set now. There's that 283. You could see that was from a wick. So we're going to be opening up here at just under 292, right at the 50-day exponential moving average. And we are going to see if we continue to tighten up in this range or if we get a breakout. Obviously, it would be very much more preferable given the $7 range on SPY. If we could get it to tighten up even more, get another higher low going before we break that range, that would be ideal. Just because we like tight ranges to play better than loose ones. So checking in on gold. So gold's still doing well. It's consolidating mostly sideways for the most part. It's still very healthy on all time frames. Silver is doing a bang up job catching up to gold now. It's just been on absolute fire the last little bit. So hourly, you can see gold has basically just been a chop fest for a little while and some nice plays here or there. But silver is going to still do a lot to help the miners, even though they consolidated a little bit yesterday. So we'll check in on that gold daily time frame and see that everything has been healthy. Bull flag potential on the daily time frame, still riding the 5-period exponential average moving up. And 1555.10 is going to be that first resistance that we need to get over in order to confirm that bull flag. Then we'll look up at 1575, 1600. Oil. So oil, we had that bear break out of our pattern, and then we're trying to close back inside of it. We're still rejecting from under it, but basically we've sort of had this one weekly uptrend line, and then we have a broader daily uptrend line that's trying to hold as well. We're back inside the two pink zones of choppiness, so I'm going to anticipate that we're going to see more chop. Anything under 57.11 is just going to be a lower high. We topped out 56.70, so if we can go up and break that, then we're going to be looking back up at 58.79 and another weekly lower high potential compared to 60.91. So a lot of choppiness on oil lately, but good volatility. Nat gas. USD, so still trying to break out of this daily range, still struggling to get that higher high on the daily time frame. And let's see where we are at. Getting close, if the chart wants to show up. That chart doesn't want to show up. I'm just a world of technical difficulties today, aren't I? Nat gas doesn't want to show up for me. There you go. So natural gas. So we're here. We're sitting at this 50. We have to get over this level here, 2272. If we get over that, the natural gas will finally have its daily trend change. We have that little inverse head and shoulders pattern setting up here. That's our last lower high. If we can get over that, we're going to be looking up potentially all the way to 240. We'll have resistance 234.4 and then potentially up at 240, looking for some of that to follow out and that weekly wedge to finally play out. I have a line here, 259, that if we would break out of this wedge, that would be sort of my weekly lower high target that I would be looking at as far as retracements go. So Bitcoin had a nice little dump last night. And we were trading within an equilibrium range for a very long time here. I think Dan mentioned it was something like, 30, 40, whatever hours. We finally broke down bearish out of it. We are getting below this 100 period on the daily time frame, potentially going to close below that. And so really what we're looking for now is 9K. We're not going to be watching too much other than we have a support 9049. That's on Bitstamp. And then our next supports really below that are going to be all the way down in the 7,000s. So bulls are going to have to be very patient for severe oversold conditions or trend changes in order to get back into some positions. Otherwise, bears are taking over on this daily chart for Bitcoin, and we're going to be waiting for that potential 9K flush or, like I said, a trend change. Dollar has been super strong, breaking out even further. And looks like we have a potential top fish on the dollar coming up with a daily equilibrium setting up. So if we cannot break 98.45 double top, then we'll be looking for that lower high and need a higher low compared to 97.17. Getting into some setups for the day, NQ futures and overnight levels. So overnight levels for NQ. NQ is a little bit further still from the range, but basically it was trading in this range. It had a very clear resistance at 76.05 and then 76.48 on NQ. And then once we got over that, we kind of just shot straight up. We're looking at the highs of overnight at 7701. And then after that, if we bull flag now and break that, we're going to be looking up at 7762. Resistance, CMG. CMG is a short candidate if the bears can break 833. So we had a double bottom on the daily time frame at 833. If the bears can break that, then there's a potential short for some weekly consolidation on CMG. And then we'd be looking down at support at 802.21 would be our next daily support. NTNX, that stock likes to move crazy. So we're looking at a gap up on NTNX. Resistance was 2056. We're well over that. We're going to be looking up at 2327 50-day exponential moving average. We're over that. And then not much resistance here. What do we have here? 25.45 are going to be our next levels for NTNX. Let's check that on the hourly time frame, see if we have a higher low or if we're just coming straight off the bottom. And we're establishing a base of support here at 23 on NTNX. So watching for volatility there today. Amazon was one of the weaker names. And you can see that weakness here, whereas some of the names, like if Amazon was where, let's say Google was, we'd be closer to like 1805, I would say. And if it was closer to where SPY was, we'd be closer to about 1805. So Amazon clearly showing still some weakness. We do have that hourly trend change. We broke out over 1767.86. Testing exponential support right now on Amazon. They're going to want a higher low and then see some of these crosses on the hourly happen. See some continuation for the bulls. Basically looks similar to the NQ, just not as strong as the NQ overnight move on Amazon. Last higher low of support, so we have 1757.32, 1750.36, and then 1746.68 for Amazon. And again, just looking for those daily lower highs to form. XBI. So trend change on XBI, same thing. We have our hourly, we had our bull break here, and now we're trying to get that higher low, higher high, seeing follow through, pulling back a little bit pre-market. Same thing, daily time frame, we're just looking for a lower high. And it's very choppy how it is. We have lower highs kind of every day. But to me, as far as the daily time frame goes, as long as we're under 83.74, that's still going to just be another daily lower high. So we rejected from exponential moving averages yesterday. We're going to need to close over them today and see some continuation. And then we're still going to need a higher low and a higher high in order for our weekly it technically went lower on the weekly by a few cents. It didn't see a ton of follow through. So bulls are going to be trying to save that weekly chart with its close. FR. First Majestic Silver, obviously on fire. Bearish reversal candlestick on the day yesterday, but silver doing great things overnight. So expect to see a slight higher open. $15 psychological is going to be that first resistance. Wow, FR is on fire. And then zooming out to the weekly chart. Look at this miners move. Woohoo. Zooming out to the weekly chart, lack of resistance here, 1530, 1705. Kinross. same kind of thing, much closer to its all-time highs, looking a lot more similar to GDX compared to First Majestic. Resistance coming up 723. And we'll see where the miners open. Obviously, gold ones might not be quite as strong as silver ones today, just because gold has been slightly behind. And double top on the daily time frame here, 686, 688, 92. No, we got higher highs. So getting higher highs, $7 psychological, going to be our first resistance. Last daily higher low, if we bull break through that and don't see very much follow through and start to pull back, then we're going to start to look for a little bit further weekly consolidation. 631 is going to be our last daily higher low. Good old weed. So weed, the biggest thing here is to be very careful. And the thing that we're being careful of is that we're in a severe downtrend, and it's going to take a lot to change that. And right now, yesterday's bounce was nice. It was off a key level. I had pointed that level out on the 2-week chart for a couple of weeks now, or for at least a week now, that, you know, I would love to see a bounce off that level. We saw a really nice bounce off that level, but so far that's all it is. So market strength it did a bunch to help weed yesterday. It didn't do that much. It's not like we saw crazy volume. It's not like we saw the kind of move that like short squeezed us 10%. It's not even like we saw a move that caused shorts to cover. We couldn't even close over the 5-period exponential moving average, which you see we've been rejecting from for 11 days in a row. So we're going to need continuation. We need over 24.37. We are going to gap up over that today. Next resistance is going to be 25.28, 25.47. Basically every single day's lower high is going to be our sequence of resistances. If we can confirm that today, I'd be looking back up at the 12-period exponential moving average, maybe a move to 26.75 if we can get there, and without being a bear flag. And we need to close over the 5 today. Then bears can start to be looking for our top on the daily in order to set that higher low. And we'll only be looking for a higher low if we can get a solid move off the bottom. Right now, this is not enough of one to guarantee that, or to even say that. Cost bulls are crazy. Gonna test 300 today. So we tested it yesterday. We got 299.95. That's gonna be our resistance. They liked the lines outside the stores in China. And basically that's what we're looking at. Support 293.62, 292.42 to maintain the strongest uptrend on cost. And if it gets over 300, then it's over 300, I guess. That's the psych resistance. Then we're just going to look at I probably wouldn't even look at 301, 302. I would probably look at like 302, 304, 305. I don't know. Feels like it should go up in increments of more than 0.3% somehow. AMD. So nice bounces. Look at this nice tight equilibrium on AMD. That's actually a really nice daily chart. If the SPY bulls can continue to show strength, AMD is going to benefit a lot from that. It's going to get over exponential moving averages, and it's going to break its lower highs at 31.92 and 32.19, holding that 100-day period exponential moving average as a nice support, and very healthy weekly consolidation trading sideways. We are in a bit of a box on it, but I think that AMD will benefit if SPY bulls break bullish. I think that they'll do nicely because of the consolidation that they've seen has been so much stronger compared to other names that have been in a clear downtrend, and they're in a clear equilibrium. So AMD hourly time frame getting a little overextended, but not really if you consider the daily time frame. And we are setting up for that test of 31.73 high of pre-market, and then 31.219, and what did I say, 31.83. Little double top there. Couple wicks down to 31 on AMD this morning as support. Netflix. So Netflix, obviously also one of the weaker names, has that daily wedge, needs to break 296.77 in order to break that daily wedge and just try to see some upside. Then we'll look at 298, 300 psychological, and a lot of resistances in the high 301s. Tesla, same thing. The daily was making slight lower lows, failing to see follow through. We're seeing this sort of move up, but it's still weak. So it's similar to Netflix here, 218.24, 221.17, and then 224 are going to be resistance for Tesla. Daily time frame, we're just looking for that lower high. We know that we had already broken that down, but definitely a wedge on Tesla. It's still a potential bear flag with the close yesterday. We're obviously opening up a little bit higher, but anything under 229.09 is just going to give us a daily lower high on Tesla. It is looking a little bit wedgy here. You can see that. I can draw it. So this kind of action, so potential that we're kind of opening right at that top of that wedge there, and then watching this sort of channel here. So definitely have that going for it as far as the channel. We saw the lower lows with the lack of follow through. We're going to need to see what happens today at that resistance line. Foot Locker. Flat open. So trying to get that higher low and higher high. Bulls need to break $36. Then they'll look up a resistance 38.15 and try to get over some exponential moving averages. Otherwise, if they don't and they reject again, then 34.75 support. SQ daily time frame. SQ's in a funny spot here. Look at this. It's kind of cool how SQ works. So SQ had this massive weekly equilibrium that it broke bullish out of the downtrend only to test that weekly level and fail to break it into a wedge, which then rejected the price, came back down, and is now in the very weird spot of being under the uptrend, but still over the downtrend. And it's in sort of a funny spot when you look at it like that, but still quite weak compared to some other names. So a lot of clear supports here at the 60 level. If we lose that, then we're going to be looking back down at 50, in the mid 50s and even low 50s, which are December low prices. So SQ does have to be a little bit, bulls have to be a little bit more concerned. We are holding that higher low here, 60.60 and 60.47 double bottom, but bulls, in order to change that daily trend, still need to get back over 66.14. So they do have a lot of work to do for SQ. Dollars on the move up, so heading towards that resistance work. Work bullish reversal candlestick. They had some bad news come out yesterday, but bulls bought the dip pretty hard. So obviously in a complete daily downtrend on work right now, and we're going to have to wait until that changes in order to go up and set our weekly lower high. And we know that that seems to be a common case with newer IPOs. Bulls need to break 29.80 first and then look up at 31.27. And we're going to be looking up if they can get a close back over exponential moving averages in order to hold some of those levels. So nice bullish hammer. We now have a clear support 28.50, but they have a lot of work to do, to change that trend. That's not the right plan. So plan potential bottom fishing play coming up on the daily time frame against 52.29. Yesterday 52.51 held. We are opening considerably higher today, so that was a nice bottom fish. And if we can hold that level, then we're going to look up for another lower high compared to 60.34 and get that daily equilibrium going. BA, so BA, I mentioned a few times yesterday that we had a whole bunch of daily crosses on the way of happening. We have this 10 over 50, this 5 over 100, and closing back over those levels, testing the 5, closing back over them. Yes, I'm live. So, yeah, thank you guys for helping repost that. I know that obviously it's frustrating when things don't go exactly as You'd like them to. So I mentioned that we were going to have all these crosses potentially coming, and people were asking like, oh, about short plays on BA yesterday, and I just didn't like them because of all those incoming crosses. We're setting up with that higher open for it today. So glad if you were a bull and not so much if you were a bear. 4-hour time frame. Now there's a potential top fishing play coming up, and that's going to be against 367 against 370. So the top fish play now coming up on BA is against 370, which I actually don't mind, given that the 4-hour we basically just came from 351.18. That's not a bad play. And UNT. UNT, potential bear flag on the 3-day chart here. Lower lows, not seeing follow through. Bulls are going to need to get over 381 in order to see any continuation of this bounce. Oh my God. That's an ugly, ugly chart. That's just an ugly chart. Jeez. Anyways, 381, then I'll look up at this 4-hour 361. So if we get over 334, 361, and 381 would be my next resistances. Nat Gas ETF tickers. UNG is the Nat Gas ETF. Non-leveraged DGAS, DGAZ, and UGAZ, UGAZ are the 3 X's. And then for the Canadian side, we have 2 X's, which are HNU for bull and HND for bear. And judging by the amount of tickers today, I'm going to guess, it doesn't have to be the last one. We've got 8 minutes. We've got 8 minutes. We have tons of time. So, oh, why am I typing it there? I need to type it here. So if our chat room indicator is anything, then I would anticipate we had such a big bull move overnight. We're going to end up with like a kind of slow day again today. Why won't you delete? Okay, look, lots of tickers now. So BZUN, nice bounce off the bottom. So changing the 4-hour trend, but we're going to need look up eventually just for that daily lower high. Lots of room due to the size of that drop. And we are closing over exponential moving averages, but I'm very decreasing bull volume. So we do have to be aware that we could top out potentially at some of these exponential moving average resistances and just set our daily lower high. So BZUN potentially looking for a top for a short play when we lose maybe a 15-minute trend on BZUN. CWeb. So CWeb, bullish reversal candle on the daily time frame, rejecting from the 100 period. On the other underside, bulls are going to need continuation, just like they do with all Canadian MJ. 2234 resistance looks like we're trying to open over that 2285, and every daily lower high since is going to be our resistance. 5-period exponential average moving average going to come into play there as well, sitting on that 50, and they're going to hope that this is that daily higher low that they were looking for compared to 1765. Disney. I was in a jewelry store yesterday and they had all the rings for Disney, like all different characters and necklaces, and they were going for like $700. I was like, man, some people really like their Disney. So 137.62, 136.44, we're opening over all of that. So Disney changing that daily trend with that higher high, but not getting that higher, well, we can call this a higher low and higher high. That lower low is kind of just like a nasty one, but either way, resistance is going to be 139.44 and then 141.95. However, earnings reaction was around that 140 level as well. So there is some resistance at 140. Over that, I would imagine we would see a little bit of an upside move towards 142, but obviously hourly getting very overextended right now, so we would like to get another little higher low, but 135.87 is going to be our last bit of support there. ATHM. ATHM, big bull move in pre-market happening, or yesterday, I guess that's yesterday actually. Bull flag, support 86.34, 86.20, little double bottom there holding the 5-period exponential moving average. Bulls are going to see if they can get some continuation. If they can, then they're going to be looking up at 87.59 resistance. TNDM on a rampage here on the hourly chart, obviously getting very overextended, starting to see the signs of bearish divergence happening, but unless we lose the hourly uptrend, bulls are in full control. 69.96 and 68.41 are going to give us those two supports. This is that chart that Matt posted. I would anticipate that it's not this easy to play. There's something happening here that I don't think that you can actually play this chart the way that it looks like you can play it, that every single month you just get to buy it. There's probably some sort of dividend, or there's some sort of something happening that gets paid out every time. Otherwise, that just seems too easy. I don't know what to say about it, but I have a feeling it's just not that easy. If it is, then we'll anticipate tomorrow it's going to open here down at, the 100-period exponential moving average at 50. Well, first of all, okay, here's the thing, daily chart. This is like literally a 10-cent move. So if there's a dividend or whatever, like that's not a way, like you're playing on an 8-cent move. So it's not even a thing. It used to do it the other way too. This is not a playable chart in my opinion, and it's not worth it because you're talking like 8 cents over the course of a month. JNK daily time frame 108.99 resistance, and then looking up at 109.62 daily higher lows intact here, but we know that we have those weekly resistances coming up. If we fail to break those and break 108.36, then we'll be looking back down at 107.97 and potential higher low compared to 106.73. WMT setting up for a higher open, top fish against 115. Yes, I like that for that lower high. So so the two ways to play it is getting it as close to 115 as possible, and then the other way to play it is getting a trend change. Like if we top out and then get a 15 or 30 or hourly trend change, you can play against whatever that top was. VFF, bullish reversal candle on the daily time frame, looking to test the 5-period exponential moving average first thing today. Watch out, we do have that 10 over 100 coming, but again, looking for that weekly higher low compared to 889, and we'll see if that was it. But bulls in MJ land still have a lot of work to do, and bears are patiently scouting entries once we top out of these moves. SPY, nice big gap up coming. And here comes the open. So Cura bull's going to be looking to test that 955 resistance. SPY, I'm going to anticipate a slower day today. We had pretty, not low volume, but compared to the last number of weeks, reasonably low volume today. CGC. Already it feels like the slowest start on SPY. Like we're used to SPY going like 20, 40, 80 cents like in the first 2 minutes. And it already kind of feels like paint drying on SPY. That's crazy. No, nobody else feels like that? Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Gotta watch the 2-minute chart. And without wicks. Whoop. All those wicks make it look crazy. 292.02 is going to be our first resistance on SPY. So Amazon, obviously weaker. Apple, 214. Anything under that is going to give us a daily lower high. Netflix still struggling, not able to break 296.77 yet. And VDA bulls really showing up. So that was one of the ones that closed super weak yesterday, and that gap up is really helping them. Strong. Baba, Chinese names up big. AMD semis up nicely. BAC up another 1%. So banks really benefiting off of the bull move that they started yesterday. There goes CGC with a new high of the day. SPY with a new high of the day. BA still unable to break the highs of pre-market. Cura testing. VFF seeing some continuation now. IAN not doing much. XBI testing some 81.23 resistance right now. Banks up really nicely this morning. Tesla still struggling at that 218.80. Shopify and Fiverr and some of the ones that were down yesterday seeing nice follow through. OSTK struggling. Still in that bear flag on the daily time frame. Silver just on fire. Truel. And SPY bulls are out of control. 293.93 resistance on SPY. 1144 is our last daily, 1145 double top is our last daily lower high on Truel. So it needs to confirm yesterday's, which it's doing. And then we're looking up at 1145 resistance, basically. So anything under that, and then once it tops out, we'll be needing a higher low and a trend change. So there's the SPY bulls. They seem to start out the first minute slow and then pick up a lot of steam since then. So lots of green on the screen, except for crypto land. That's all red. Cost going for another test today of 300. XBI with the bull break over 81.23. So still weak compared to where SPY is and XBI is. XBI is still a weak sector. Cura unable to break the high of yesterday. 877 support. Here comes Netflix with that test, 296.77. Amazon bulls trying to catch up now. They did not like how far down they were lagging. So you have like Apple, you have NVDA up nearly 3%, Baba up nearly 3%, AMD up 3%, and Amazon only up 1%, Apple up 1.64. So definitely you can see which names are the stronger. When Amazon is up less than SPY is up, that is a bit of a red flag for Amazon. So either it's going to play catch up or not, but it's weird to see Amazon up only the exact same amount as SPY. There's Netflix trying to break bull. There's a bull break on Netflix. So it's going to try to get over 297 now. Well, still kind of rejecting. Struggling at that level. CGC pulling back quite a bit already. So CGC new high of the day and not able to, it's still rejecting from that hourly 50 on CGC. Nat Gas got the daily trend change. Congratulations, Nat Gas bulls. Targets are going to be 234, 240, 259 on the daily and weekly time frame. SPY pulling back, going to give us our 2-minute high or low. That's going to be anything over the low of the day, 291.64. It's a pretty big rejection on CGC. But we'll see what happens. Just need a 5-minute high or low. But hourly, there's that hourly. So 4 hour 20 rejecting it. And if we zoom into that hourly chart, we can see that hourly 100 rejecting it. Sorry, the hourly 50 rejecting it. It's getting smushed. Back testing the 5 right now and the 10. So it's going to try to continue. But again, this is what we were potentially concerned about, is that a little bit of a rising wedge looking like a bear flag more than follow through. But bulls are still fine. They want to get over that 50. They want that 5 to cross that 50 and look up at 25.50 is what the bulls would like on CGC. So Cura 5-minute inside bar forming. You can see that 938 level, like it got over it slightly and then came straight back down under it, closed under it, and now is trying again to break it. So that was like another failed breakout of it. This 938 to 940 is sort of similar to that 863 to 868 level for Cura. Roku bulls buying the dip off the hourly 10 period here. So initial dip on Roku, but they are buying that dip up. STMP bulls have been buying those dips up as well, daily time frame. Potential top fish on STMP against $67. We just rejected from 66.70 and we have a high of 67.56 potential top fish on STMP. BA now seeing that further follow through, so still scouting that potential top fish against 370 on BA, or whenever it tops out and gives us a trend change. Obviously you want SPY to be going in that same direction with it. Minor seeing weakness this morning, slightly down. Cost, another rejection, so inside bar on cost, failure to get over 299 and setting a lower high, and now seeing 5-minute pull back on cost very significantly. That's a pretty decent dump on cost. Support on cost is going to be down at 293.62, 292.42. Testing hourly exponential moving average supports right now. Nugget, I don't know about a V-shaped bounce. It's testing support. So we have that clear support on GDX down at 30.03. If we don't hold that, then we're going to be looking for some more weekly consolidation on miners. So whenever I'm charting Nugget, I'm looking at GDX. There's that all-out dump on GDX. And there's that key support that we're watching here on the daily time frame down at 30.03. If we hold that level, then daily health stays in control of the bulls. If we lose that level, that's our first signs of some consolidation in miners. And then we kind of look for miners to lead gold a bit. So if I see that the miners break, I'll start watching for potential pullback on gold. iRobot. I actually just took that one off my watch list because I thought it was a boring one to watch. iRobot upgraded, so obviously seeing the same upside pre-market, but not seeing any follow through on that upgrade as of now. CGC trying again near Well, not really. Not trying hard enough. SPY, so SPY still not able to set its 2-minute high or low. Let's check in on you guys. And there's that bull break on you guys. Hard to chart you guys, but 16 is going to be resistance. We're going to test that 50 period as well. I would only chart natural gas. You guys, prices mean a lot less to me given all the gaps and given all the decay and, you know, everything associated with that. CGC really not doing well here. Taking its sweet time to get anything going. So SPY trying to set its 2-minute high or low now, 291.94. If you have a double day maker before 9:40, then yes, take it and have a great day. There's so a little lower high now on SPY. Definitely whatever. So we're gonna look for an equilibrium. Low of the day 291.64, and then low of pre-market 291.44. We do have a wick down to 288.40, and we do know that we were potentially looking for that daily lower high. So we'll see if the bulls can turn things around. Obviously, there's usually data at around 10 o'clock that sometimes increases liquidity and volatility. 292.45 is now our resistance. KO. Knock out. Coca-Cola bearish reversal candlestick forming on the daily time frame. We are getting a little bit wedgy up here with these higher highs that are not seeing as good follow through. We do know that we can be looking for a higher low compared to 53.39 on KO, getting a little stretched over the 5-period exponential moving average. Bull's still in full control of the daily chart, but we are starting to see signs of consolidation. That will depend what that daily candle looks like. Next support is going to be down at 54.42. As CGC is having a more significant rejection now. Uber was super weak yesterday. Still not really getting much going. We had a bullish reversal candlestick. It's being confirmed in the least convincing way possible. So Uber still stinking. Lyft, same thing. Being confirmed with a rejection from the 5-period exponential moving average and still a bear flag. Potential on the daily time frame. Fiverr daily trying to get this double bottom here. So nice bottom fishing play yesterday on Fiverr. Saw some nice upside. 23.40 resistance. We're over that, but pulling back pretty significantly. So top fish against 24.67 potential on Fiverr here. Amazon, you can see there's that weakness where SPY is like all the way up here and Amazon's all the way down here. It's going to try to get over some of these exponential moving averages. Resistance now is not until 1804.90 for Amazon. So they're going to try to play a little bit of catch up. Checking in on Apple and then banks. Apple already with a bearish reversal candlestick forming. Not enough time in the day to say that. We're only 15 minutes in. But we do know that Apple has this potential daily equilibrium forming here. And so we could anticipate another top around the 211 range. And it was a nice bounce off of it yesterday to hold it on Apple. Okay, now SPY 2-minute higher low is set. So that was a really good bottom fish off the low of the day, 291.64. It held 291.71 is our new higher low. UNT daily inside bar forming. Bulls need to get over 334 in order to confirm this little double bottom and potential bottoming pattern. So it looks like we had a huge pullback yesterday with that long upper wick. Now we're going to look up and potentially get that equilibrium. We're coming straight off the lows here, and we need a higher low on the 5-minute time frame, as that is more convincing, and SPY bulls are heading back straight towards the high of the day here. XLF, not doing much so far. Inside bar forming on the 5-minute time frame, so we have that gap up. We see our daily chart for XLF, so right now it's QQQ that's helping a little more. Rejecting from the 20-period exponential moving average. We do have this daily resistance 26.85, and we have topped out slightly lower than it. Low of the day 26.64. If we lost that, that would be a little bit of a red flag, but otherwise looking okay for XLF still for now. Cost, bearish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame. It is also an inside bar. We are stretched pretty far over the 5-period exponential moving average. We did see that it managed to stay stretched over it for quite a few days there. Obviously 300, that key resistance, failed to break that this morning and instantly pulled back. And bulls are trying to bounce, but anything under 297, 297.73 is just going to give us a 5-minute lower high on cost. So there's that OSTK weakness with crypto weakness. Not that they really trade together, but bear flag playing out on OSTK. Looking towards the lows of yesterday as support. Just kind of dumping right now towards it. It's around 1630. Let's check where the one is on OSTK. Shop is weaker today. Shop was weaker yesterday as well. So shop is fairly stretched on the daily time frame, so I'm not surprised. Some people were speculating about yesterday being sort of a distributive day with, you know, some names, banks going up, and then you had like shop and other service, like software service ones, going down yesterday. So OSTK looking at 1625. Breaking by 1 penny, then going down is a red flag. Same like CGC. It's not showing me any follow through. Like CGC is literally the worst follow through that you could have hoped for. Because it also just like broke by a couple of pennies, the highs of yesterday, and then heading back down. We're starting to lose first supports here. That's going to be 24.25. We've already lost that. So basically I'm hands off CGC until we find a higher low. Like this was pretty much the absolute worst follow through they could have asked for, with SPY being so strong. XBI. So CGC 2080 is still not out of the question for me on CGC with how bad that follow through was today. It's going to need to do a lot of work, get back to the high of the day and show me over 25 to even think that it's not going straight back down. I mean, SPY is like up at the high of the day on a 1% gap up, and CGC is down 0.25%. So that's disaster. XBI. So XBI, potential 5-minute equilibrium forming. Definitely low bull volume. So yes, potential top fish. We did break the level of resistance by 20 cents, but that's all we got so far on it. Oil. big wick. We are in chop zone on oil. That was another rejection. 56.79 I believe was resistance, and then 57.11, but we're just testing a 5-minute higher low. It went straight from 55.82 all the way up to 56.52. So this is just healthy consolidation. 5-minute higher low was getting a little bit high above the 5-minute exponential moving average, and now it touched it, and it is just fine on oil. A little bit of a megaphone pattern here you can see forming. You can see that top that rejected it really nicely. Yeah, it's there. And then we can draw those bottoms like that. So megaphone on oil, AMD. AMD bulls were strong so far today, but now pulling back, and we're going to be looking for a higher low compared to 31.38, and they rejected again from 31.83. So 31.83 is now like a quadruple, a million times I've seen that act as resistance, and it's a very clear one, and bulls need to watch out for it on AMD. Watching silver miners pull back, and gold slightly red, JNUG pulling back, not disastrously so, just a little bit. BA 366 topping out, now pulling back, testing 5-period exponential moving average on the hourly time frame. Yeah, CGC, that is the worst follow through ever. I even changed my profile picture in Slack to try to help out CGC. It bounced for the one day, but alas. Checking in on some of those US names, seeing if they're getting any follow through. So Kira back to testing the high of the day, 938, needs to get over that, and then 945 and 958 resistance. SPY is right back up at the high of the day. Double top here a little bit. 45, 39. I can't find anything that hasn't pulled back other than SPY, so I'm a little bit confused, but like semis are pulling back now. There's SPY pulling back a bit, but like BA pulled back $3. AMD pulling back. So what is not pulling back? That SPY is still so high. Amazon is catching up, helping SPY right now. Because it's not Apple. Apple's slightly up, but Amazon just rocketed $20 up, and that is helping SPY for sure. So tech sector was lagging in some areas, and Amazon did play laggard to catch up. And Facebook as well. Facebook and Amazon are on absolute fire right now. If you're wondering where all the strength is, they are there. Facebook's looking up at 187 resistance, Amazon 1805. QQQ, yeah, there we go. XLF isn't pulling back, but it wasn't as strong. But it was more that there was a lot of names that were starting to pull back, like that I was watching, like semis and BA and whatever. And then I just looked at Amazon and Facebook and saw where all the strength was. So there's SPY, new high of the day. And we're still looking up at 293, 290, 393 resistance on SPY as Amazon and Facebook lead the charge. Checking in on Tesla and seeing if it's having success. So it did finally, so 8 break of 218.80, and then we saw that follow through on Tesla, 223 resistance on Tesla. Here's that Amazon bull move. So slight dip to start, and then bulls buying the dip, trying to form a little bull flag here. Here's that Facebook move, matching it, getting a little toppy, gonna need a 5-minute higher low. And NVDA bulls charging after that 165 break as well. So interesting that AMD was seeing much more weakness compared to NVDA. Netflix. So Netflix, once it broke 296.77, that was the bull break. Next resistance on Netflix is So testing the 12-period exponential moving average. 299.01, 333 on Netflix. SPY breaking the high of the day with a bit of a big upper wick, but we'll see what happens there. Not really a red flag yet, just notable. CGC weakness is notable. CGC weakness getting more notable. As Cron is pulling back as well with CGC, so 1085 and 1058 support on Cron, with one little one here at 1103. If we get back under 11, those are our $10 supports on Cron, as Canadian MJ continues to hurt. $288 is 4-hour higher low. Yes. That was from yesterday afternoon action. Yeah. AMD testing the 5-minute 50 period, looking for a higher low compared to the low of the day. That's going to be down at 31.41, potential bottom fishing play. And then we have support of pre-market 31.38. We do have two long lower wicks to 31.02. That's not things that you could get filled on, but we do pay attention to those wicks, just knowing that they're there. But bottom fish play off the low of the day, looking for that 5-minute higher low on AMD for sure. What else do we have here? Uber Bull's still doing a whole lot of nothing. Let's check in on some of those crazy runners that we've been seeing over the last few days. FSLY has been one. And we can check in on. So, wow. FSLY is one of those crazy ones. Daily time frame's not extended at all on FSLY. 34.80, 35 resistance, 5-minute, trying to find that higher low. Look at the spread. So just know that you're looking at a 0.5% spread. Is NTNX seeing the volatility we were hoping for? Yep, broke over 25, so we were looking at resistance, and we're now over 25, so next resistance is not going to be up until 26.96 on NTNX. FSLY was the one I was looking at. It's crazy overextended, but apparently it's Matt did some due diligence on it the other day, and apparently it's insanely low float stock, which is why it's run 100% in the last number of days. So obviously any entries up here are going to be incredibly tight stop loss on them, and definitely not, not looking for swings up there. BYND. We're back over all daily exponential moving averages, but the way that the chart looks is very wedgy. So I would potentially be looking for like a weekly lower high here. This is, if we break 159, I would like that as a short with a stop over 163.16, looking for a higher low compared to 137. Me personally. That might only happen tomorrow. Gush having a good day with oil and natural gas going up huge. Gush is gushing money. It's not bleeding out. It's doing the opposite of gushing. It's burning fuel to the upside. I don't know. Whatever. So SPY pulling back enough from that high of the day that we can see, it's almost like this white line here is our resistance, like the grid. The grid is our resistance. Looking for another higher low compared to 291.71 on SPY. As CGC is trying to hold 24 psychological support. July pending home sales falling 2.5%. So that happening right as we needed a 5-minute higher low or a 2-minute higher low. Thank you for the timing, market makers. Platinum futures. QT chart. At one point, TLRY was even higher than that. But yes, the borrow rate for TLRY has always been insane. If you're shorting it intraday, you don't have to pay those fees. And if you're just holding it like over one night, then it's not such a big deal because that's obviously for the whole year. Oh, it depends on your time frame for the trade. CDLX. Matt looking to break the high of yesterday, testing it right now. Double top at 37.92. That was hourly bullish consolidation you were watching for. It is playing out. And we just broke that high, so we're going to be looking up at 38 resistance. And blue sky, I'm not going to say that's blue sky breakout, but I think that is blue sky breakout. Yeah, blue sky breakout now on CDLX. You were the one that told me about it. I have had it up on my chart all night. You saw it happening. You said, is this bullish hourly consolidation? Well, it was. Blue sky breakout. but only by a penny. It hasn't had follow through yet. So let's see if it gets over 38. INS has not broken hourly resistance yet. 54.17 is still there and it has not broken it. So if we fail to break 54.17, you could potentially top fish off of that and then be looking for the bears need to break $52. But there is a potential top fish off of 54.17 for weekly consolidation down to that 5 EMA weekly on INS. But the spread is very nasty on INS. BYND. Yeah, XLF is right at its 20-day. It's been struggling at that all day. I feel like BYND has a 5-minute chart setting up here, but I'm not sure if I like it. It does have a 5-minute chart. 5-minute equilibrium setting up on BYND. Bear volume massively outweighing the bull volume, however. Apparently nobody's eating meat anymore because now they're in Tim Hortons. Not even for meat, they're doing Tim Hortons eggs. KFC is no longer Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's now Kentucky Fried Beyond Meat. Netflix seeing more follow through. So because we have that upper wick, that head and shoulders is possible. But if I go with closes, then we sort of still have it as an equilibrium with a, like the double top is kind of at 292.38. With the close below it, we're testing 2-minute exponential moving average right now. We'll see if we set a lower high. It's kind of both at the same time, but not really either. Okay, so CGC still not doing much. Let's face it. They're just trying to hold. They're back testing exponential moving averages on the hourly now from the underside. Need to get back over the 5, which is all the way up at 20, not all the way up, but at 24.29. QSR owns all of them. That's why. So all they had to do was get into QSR, and they're everywhere now. OLLI. Not a ticker I've ever looked at. Bargain Outlet Holdings. What are they doing? Big gap down on earnings, so crap earnings. I don't like a Netflix bear play that much unless like the resistances are basically 333 right now. The reason I don't like a Netflix bear play is just because it finally broke over the last little daily lower high that it was looking to get over to attempt that wedge. Now it is potentially hitting the top kind of that wedge, but unless SPY weakness shows up, Netflix tends to do its own thing and can move in strange directions. So you'd have to, I would want it closer to 333 and then see a potential top fish off of it there. Ollie 5-minute just now closing over the 5-minute exponential moving average. Anything under the low high of the day is going to be a 5-minute lower high. That's up at 58.09. And now we're looking at support of 54.69. So that's actually not a terrible risk reward if they can start to see follow through, if they can get a second candle to close over this 5 period here. That's not the worst risk reward. But bull volume very low on this move. So we did have that wedge. We broke bullish over 55.24, seeing follow through. Now we're going to need to see more follow through. If you're looking just for a scalp off Netflix being so strong, that's one thing, but I would love for it to be a little bit more extended. This is not so extended for me. Now, SPY breaking bearish with it, obviously that will change things. So SPY 291.91 support, breaking that by a penny, not seeing follow through yet. So we'll see if we get follow through on SPY. And then we're going to be looking down at 291.71 and 291.64 low of the day. Hexo. Oh, so quick bear break there on SPY. Now we're seeing follow through, 291.71 being tested now. Broken, so low of the day test on SPY. Hexo 5-minute potential equilibrium forming here as well, pulling back from $4 and again $3.99, so nice top fishing play there potential. And we're gonna, if we pull back from $4 and can't get over it, we're gonna need a higher low compared to 388 as SPY is just double bottomed at the low of the day. And if we break 64, then we're gonna be looking at 44. So 2-minute clear bear break on SPY. And we will see what we get. Okay, so new low of the day on SPY, 44 support. NVDA, that's a nasty candle on NVDA. Bulls broke that bull flag bullish and then dumped and gave back the whole move to a 5-minute lower low. That's ugly. BAC, 5-minute equilibrium is perfection. Someone's going to need to play that. High, low, lower high, higher low, lower high. 27.12, 27.13, 27.24. This is beautiful. Just saying. No, nobody has to play it. I'm just saying it's really pretty. Nice top fish on BYND there. So SPY had that new low of the day, no follow through just yet. CWeb is, yeah, if you count the gap up as your pole, then you can call it that. 22.89, $23 resistance. Remember that natural gas has that daily trend change, but it also has inventory report in 15 minutes. That can change everything. So we have that to keep in mind. Roku bulls buying dips all day long, but rejecting from 150 psychological. QQQ 5-minute looks like we might see another test of 187.30 here with that 5 crossing over the 10 and below the 20. So I'm going to look for another test of 187.30 on QQQ here. STMP was a great top fish off of 67, down now from 66.50 to 65. So that top fish working out well. Kira still not doing much of anything. Cost Okay, so if you want to know where the weakness is, cost is where the weak, not on the daily chart, but just on the 5-minute chart, cost is oversold on the 5-minute time frame, looking for a little 5-minute lower high potentially. XBI was a good top fish off that high of the day and that equilibrium. That worked out well. Shopify having a nice bull move back over 400. Pulling back now, 5-minute equilibrium potentially setting up on Shopify in later into today. IAN 345 resistance trying to move. 5-minute double top at 335. So we have our low 327, higher low 329, double top now 335. If we can get over 335, we'll look at 345 and 350. As CGC is rejecting now from the 5 period, from the underside, hourly is going to need a close over that in order for the bulls to be a little bit better there. So definitely US MJ holding up better than Canadian MJ. With Cron 15-minute rejecting from a cluster of exponential moving average resistance right now where it is. And SPY bulls heavily buying that dip off that new low of the day. Also looking at a potential just lower high on the 2-minute now. Yeah, BA was a good top fish off 370. I know it was a little high there. There was 2 resistances, 367 something and 369 something, but it was a good top fish off of BA. Okay, I will be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage live in the chat room. So just patience. It's possible that this, the movements are big, but they're also kind of slow. We are in a 2-minute downtrend. Obviously, lower lows not really getting that much follow through. And hourly, let's check in on SPY, just zoom out to the hourly and the 4-hour quickly so that you get a big picture of what we're looking at. So the hourly time frame, we have an inside bar forming on SPY, break of that, and it's holding over the 5 period. If we break the 5 period and close below it, then we're going to be looking for an hourly higher low. That's going to be anything over 288.17. So lots of room for consolidation for SPY bulls here. And as far as zooming out to the daily time frame, if we start to break those down and we see that we cannot break over some of these levels like the high of the day and then 293.57, 293.93, then it's potential that our daily lower high has been set as well. So that's what we're watching, and don't get too chopped up if the day is a slow one. Sometimes bigger bull moves overnight lead to slower day trading days. So just watching all of that carefully, and I will see you guys in 15 minutes.